My daughter texted me, "This is no longer your home," then changed the locks and shoved me out onto the street with nothing but a suitcase and a few lonely plastic bags. But what she doesn't know is that I'm the one holding the original will and the real signature on the house deed. And what I do next, she'll remember for the rest of her life. Before I continue this story, if any part of it feels familiar, leave a comment. Who knows, maybe my story was once yours too. I am Sharon Anderson, a 62-year-old widow. I've sat on this porch for most of my life. The wood creaks under my weight now, like it's grown old with me. This house, 2 stories, white siding, wrap-around porch shaded by the old maple tree. It's been in my family for 3 generations. My mother was born in the front bedroom. I gave birth to Nancy upstairs one rainy October morning. And now, at 62, I sit out here most mornings with a cup of weak coffee, watching the world move on around me. I was born here, raised here, married here, and I've stayed. That's the kind of woman I am. Steady, the kind who wipes her hands on her apron and just keeps going. When I got married at 23, my mother gave us the house as a wedding gift, said it was a foundation for a strong life. She handed me the deed in an envelope that still smells faintly of lavender. When I open the drawer, I keep it in. Back then, I thought life would bloom from here. I saw kids running in the yard, Christmas lights on the porch, backyard barbecues, but those dreams faded fast. My husband, Mark, died in a car accident when Nancy was just 7, hit by a drunk driver on Route 6, coming home from a late shift. One minute he was there, smelling of gasoline and pep. The next, I was standing in a hospital hallway, hearing a nurse say the words, "He didn't make it." I didn't cry, not right away. Grief came later, quiet, like fog seeping into my bones. From that day on, it was just me and Nancy. I took a full-time job teaching 2nd grade at the elementary school 4 blocks down, woke up at 5:30 every morning, packed 2 lunches, read bedtime stories with the lights off because we couldn't afford new bulbs till payday. There were nights I'd be so tired I'd sit on the kitchen floor eating saltines and watching the clock tick, but I made it work, because Nancy was watching, and she needed me to be unbreakable. She was 12 the first time she said it. "Mom, I'll never leave you." Not ever. I remember exactly where we were, on this very porch, her head in my lap, watching fireflies. That sentence, I carried it inside me for decades like a lighthouse, a promise. When college came, I sold the gold bracelet and the locket my mother left me to help cover Nancy's tuition. Didn't hesitate. I remember walking out of the pawn shop with empty hands and tear stains I didn't bother to wipe away. I didn't tell her. She thought scholarships and loans covered everything. That was fine. Some sacrifices you don't announce, you just make them, quietly. The years passed. She graduated, got married, had 2 beautiful boys, lived in a small condo across town with her husband Andrew, a good man, I thought, quiet, polite. He always helped with the dishes when they came to visit. Then, one afternoon, she called, said they'd been thinking, maybe it was time they moved in. "You shouldn't be alone in that big house anymore, Mom," she said. "It'll be good for all of us." I didn't hesitate. I said yes. My heart swelled. I remember that day so clearly, scrubbing baseboards, fluffing the guest room pillows, baking banana bread like I used to when she was little. I wanted everything to feel warm, like home. They arrived on a Saturday. Andrew drove the U-Haul. Nancy followed in her SUV with the boys. The house came alive again. Shoes by the door, laughter upstairs, cartoons in the background. I offered them the master bedroom, where Mark and I used to sleep. They hesitated, but I insisted. "I'm more comfortable in the basement anyway," I told them. "My knees aren't what they used to be. Fewer stairs this way." Truth is, I missed the view of the maple tree. But it felt good, right, to give them space. That's what a mother does. So I moved downstairs, cleaned out the old boxers, laid a rug over the cold concrete, bought a second-hand lamp from Goodwill to make it feel cozy. It was fine. I'd lived through worse. And for a while, it really was good. Dinner together every night, helping the boys with homework, watching Nancy sneak spoonfuls of cookie dough like she used to. Some nights I'd sit on the porch alone, listening to them laugh through the open windows, and I'd think, this is what I was waiting for. This is the reward. But life has a way of twisting when you least expect it. Small things began to shift. Andrew's tone with me turned clipped, like I was in his way. Nancy seemed tired all the time. like she was carrying something she didn't want to talk about. They started making decisions without me, rearranging the kitchen, painting over the living room wall where Nancy's height chart was still penciled in. One night, I came upstairs and found the family photos replaced with framed quotes and abstract art. I said nothing, just smiled. But I felt it. The house was shifting, and I wasn't sure it was still mine. Still, I held on. Because of Nancy. Because of what she said that night when she was 12. I'll never leave you. Funny how words can echo for a lifetime, and still get drowned out by silence. It started small. The kind of little shifts you'd miss if you weren't paying attention. But when you've spent your whole life holding a family together with thread and prayer, you notice every loose corner. After Nancy and Andrew moved in, I settled into a routine. I took over the laundry like I always had, because I knew how Andrew liked his shirts folded, and Nancy always forgot the towels in the washer. I cooked dinner most nights, nothing fancy, just casseroles, stews, meatloaf on Thursdays like Mark used to love, and I kept the bills paid, utilities, groceries, even the property tax when it came around in March. I didn't mind, not at first. I figured they had the boys to worry about, daycare, school shoes, dentist appointments. That was the natural rhythm of family. The older generation supports the younger one until they find their footing. That's what my mother did for me, and her mother before her. Andrew started making suggestions after a few weeks. Said the wallpaper in the hallway looked a little outdated. Maybe we should modernize the place. Then it was the kitchen cabinets. Too dark, too narrow, not enough space. I smiled and nodded. Sure, I said. A fresh look never hurts. I thought maybe if they made it theirs, they'd feel more at home. That was important to me. I wanted them to feel like it was their house, too. But the changes started to add up. My dining set, oak with hand-carved legs, got moved to the garage until we find something more open. The throw pillows I'd had since Nancy was in high school disappeared, replaced by ones with fancy tassels and words like live, laugh, love embroidered on them. I didn't fight it, because Nancy smiled when she talked about colors and lighting and functionality. She was animated again, like she was back in college designing tiny dream houses on napkins. Then one morning, I heard her on the phone down in the basement. I was upstairs folding laundry when I caught a bit of her voice through the vent. If I turn the whole downstairs into a client's space, I can host meetings here. Way cheaper than renting an office in town. And if we get steady work in this neighborhood, we'll be rolling in cash. Client space. It took me a minute to piece it together. She was planning to turn my space, my home, into a design office. She hadn't said a word. I sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, holding one of Andrew's button-downs in my lap. But I didn't bring it up. I told myself, she's chasing something. Let her chase. The world's different now. Maybe this is what happiness looks like for her. Then came my birthday. Nothing big, just a quiet hope. I baked a small apple pie the night before and left it to cool by the window, the way my mother used to. That morning, I put on my good blouse, the blue one with little white flowers. I sat out on the porch, waiting for someone to say something, but they didn't. The boys had school. Andrew left early. Nancy was dressed up, her hair done, perfume in the air. She kissed me on the cheek on her way out and said, "We've got a dinner with Andrew's clients tonight. Don't wait up." I nodded, smiled. That night, I ate a fried egg sandwich alone at the kitchen table. The pie sat untouched on the counter. I didn't cry, but I did sit there for a long time after the sandwich was gone. The silence was heavy. That was the first night I noticed they had locked their bedroom door. I went upstairs to grab a book from the hallway shelf, and as I passed their room, I reached for the handle out of habit, thinking maybe Nancy was inside. Maybe we could talk, but it was locked. Later, when I asked, she laughed and said, "Oh, just a habit. We worry about break-ins. You know how it is. Break-ins, in this house, in 3 generations, we've never locked a door between us." Something about that cut deeper than I could explain. After that, things kept changing. Nancy started working late hours in the basement. I'd hear voices, sometimes clients, sometimes just her and Andrew talking. Quiet, quick, shutting up fast when I walked in. I started noticing items moving around. My mother's porcelain pitcher that used to sit on the mantel was packed away. A box of my old teaching books ended up in the garage, damp from the leaky corner I'd warned Andrew about. They were clearing space, making room, but it wasn't for me. I found myself drifting around the house like a guest, not a homeowner, not a mother. just a woman who happened to pay the bills and wash the sheets. Still, I kept my voice soft, my smile steady, because I love them. And because love, at least the way I was raised to understand it, isn't loud or demanding. It's steady, it holds. But some nights, when the lights are off and the wind whistles against the siding, I lie awake on that narrow basement bed and wonder, what happens when holding on becomes the very thing pulling you under? The house feels different now. The maple tree still stands. The porch still basks in morning sun. But something's shifted in the walls, in the air, like the home I kept alive all these years is slowly slipping from my hands. The bus that carried my class up into the Berkshires smelled of wet mittens and cheap cocoa. I'd volunteered for the 3-day winter camp because no one else wanted to leave their families so close to Christmas break. I said yes out of habit. I've spent my life saying yes, and because I liked the idea of showing city kids what silence in the woods sounds like. Daylight goes fast that far north. By 4:30 the sky was already closing its fist around us, and the counselors lit propane lanterns outside the mess hall. I kept busy, checked the head count, reminded Jason to zip his coat, praised Maria for her neat handwriting in her nature journal. The work blurred the edges of my thoughts. That was a blessing. The third night, our last, it dropped to 16 degrees. We built a fire in the clearing behind the cabins. The flames snapped, throwing sparks into the black like tiny prayers. The students roasted marshmallows while I passed out paper cups of lukewarm cider. Somewhere in the dark, a barred owl asked its old, endless question. My phone buzzed inside my parka. Reception in the mountains was fragile. One thin bar showed on the screen. A single text from Nancy slid across the glass. Mom, don't come. Bach, Andrew and I changed the locks. The house is ours now. I waited for the rest. A laughing emoji. Just kidding. Anything. Nothing followed. A cold that had nothing to do with the weather crawled up my spine. I pressed call, straight to voicemail. Tried again. Nothing. Signal or avoidance. I couldn't tell. The kids kept laughing, sugar high and loud, their faces orange in the firelight. I slipped to a wooden bench just beyond the circle. From there, I could still see them, but they couldn't read my expression. I've practiced that distance my whole life. Time stretched. I must have sat an hour, the phone cradled in my mittened hands like a dead bird. Every so often I tapped the screen, hoping the signal would catch and her face would appear. It never did. My co-teacher, Mr. Dalton, finally herded the class toward the cabins. You coming, Miss Anderson? In a minute, I answered, steady as a fence post. When the clearing was empty, I let the tears come. Only a few. I wouldn't allow more. The night was too wide and the trees too tall for someone as small as me to break beneath them. I wiped my face with the corner of my scarf, breathed until my chest stopped hitching, and stared at the embers until they browned into ash. I did not sleep. I sat on the porch outside cabin 3 all night, wrapped in 2 blankets, listening to radiator pipes bang and the wind drive sleet against the tin roof. I kept seeing the kitchen wall where Nancy's height used to be marked, how those pencil lines were painted over without a word. I held that image because it hurt less than picturing the new locks turning behind me. At breakfast, nobody noticed the swollen rims of my eyes. 12-year-olds have dramas of their own. Adults are background noise. I smiled, poured milk over cornflakes, complimented a messy braid, reminded them to clear their trays. Routine is a shelter, if you let it be. On the ride home, the bus windows fogged from breath and damp wool. Frost feathered the corners like lace. I stared through the cloudy glass at mile after mile of stone walls and frozen ponds, wondering which turnoff would no longer belong to me. The driver had the radio on low, classic rock, a song Mark once hummed while fixing the shed roof, but I wouldn't let that memory land, one loss at a time. When we reached the school parking lot, parents waved from minivans and kids spilled into their arms, smelling of smoke and snow. I stood beside my suitcase, watching gratitude soften cold faces. No one asked if I had a ride. I didn't. I waited until the lot emptied, then climbed onto the city bus with my overnight bag on my lap. I kept my gloves on even though the heater blasted dry air through cracked vents. 42 minutes later, I stepped off at Maple and 3rd, 3 blocks from the house that might no longer be mine. I didn't rush. The streetlights flickered against the early dusk, and the frost on the sidewalks gleamed like thin glass. At the corner, I paused, drew one long breath, and felt it crystallize in my chest. The key I'd carried for 40 years felt heavier than cast iron in my coat pocket. I rolled its teeth between my fingers, tracing the little nickmark filed into it the first week we moved in so we could tell whose was whose. Mine has a crescent moon notch. His had a square. After he died, I kept both on the same ring, the metal clinking like wind chimes whenever I unlocked the door. I thought about that sound now and wondered if the new lock would silence it for good. Halfway down Elm Street, I paused beside the vacant lot where the Anderson boys played stickball in the 70s. The field is weeds now. The backstop rusted through. I pressed my palm to the chain-link fence and let the cold bite. Memory is selective, but muscles remember swing sets, laughter, the way Nancy's braids slapped her shoulders when she ran bases barefoot. She was 7 the day she promised to become a builder, so you'll never have to fix things alone, Mommy. I had forgotten that until now, and it returned like a shard of glass in laundry water, invisible until it cut. The wind rose, rattling paper cups along the curb. I tucked my chin deeper into my scarf and moved on. Each step echoed off shuttered storefronts. A woman crossing a town she has never left yet no longer recognizes. But forward was the only direction that still made sense. I walked on, breathing frost and memory in equal measure, until the outline of my porch lamp glowed against the falling dark. I turned the corner onto Elm and saw the porch light burning like nothing had changed. The maple branches cast their old checkerboard of shadows on the siding. But even from the sidewalk I felt something off in the air, like the house was holding its breath. My suitcase wheels clicked over the uneven flagstones Mark laid 35 years ago. I reached the 3 worn steps, set the bag down, and brushed a mitten across the rail the way you stroke a dog to let it know you're home. The paint felt colder than usual, a kind of metallic chill that slid straight through wool. I pulled my keyring up by its lanyard, found the crescent notch key, and slipped it into the lock. The metal stopped halfway, like the slot was packed with ice. I jiggled, pressed, tried the top lock, then the bottom again. Nothing. The key that had opened this door since 1989 no longer fit. A gust rattled the storm window. I tried a third time, slower, my breath fogging the glass, still blocked. That's when the fist of truth tightened. Andrew had actually replaced the locks, just like Nancy's text said. I called her first. 3 rings, voicemail. Andrew next, straight to the mechanical voice. Leave your message after the tone. I didn't. I slipped the phone back into my coat and saw the envelope taped to the door. It was floral printed, cheap stationery, the kind you buy in a 5-pack at the grocery store checkout. My name, Mom, was written in Nancy's hurried slant. Inside, one line in blue gel pen: we'll take care of the house from now on. This isn't your home anymore. Please find somewhere else to rest. Nothing more. No love, Nancy. No explanation, no apology. At my feet sat a single battered suitcase. Mine, I realized, the green one with the fraying canvas handle, and 2 grocery bags tied shut with twisties. My life distilled to 40 pounds of folded memories. Across the street, Mrs. Phelps' curtains stirred. When I glanced up, her silhouette froze. Then the fabric slid closed like a hotel drape. Next door, the Morrison boy, home from college, cut his laugh short and ducked inside. A neighborhood that once smelled of potluck suppers and borrowed rakes suddenly felt like a row of strangers' backs. I told myself not to cry on the porch because tears stained with saltier than rain. I lifted the suitcase and started walking, not fast, just steady, the way an old pickup hums on empty. The closest person I trusted was Claire Turner, a fellow second-grade teacher who lived 11 blocks west. It took almost 2 hours on sidewalks crusted with black ice. I moved like a woman balancing a bowl of water on her head, afraid one wrong step would spill everything left inside me. Cars hissed by, spraying slush. Nobody offered a ride. Claire answered in stocking feet, glasses perched on her head, surprised, wide on her face. I managed. Could I stay a night or 2? She blinked, then stepped aside, the smell of microwave popcorn floating from the living room. Her sofa sagged in the middle, but the quilt she laid over it was soft and smelled of lavender detergent. She handed me a spare toothbrush still in its wrapper, said Botham's second door, and retreated to her bedroom with a murmur of, just get some rest. I lay there fully clothed, staring at the ceiling fan paddles turning shadows on the plaster. Sometime past midnight the floorboards creaked. Voices carried from the kitchen, muted but clear enough in a quiet house. Claire's husband whispered, first, couldn't catch every word. Then Claire, low and worried, maybe she's slipping. Poor thing, can you imagine getting that confused at her age? I pressed the quilt to my mouth, confused. I wanted to knock on the frame and read them the note, dump the new lock on the table, show the towel fold impressions still on my fingertips, but I didn't move. Pride is loud in daylight and silent after midnight. The fridge door thumped shut, footsteps faded. I lay listening to the house heater kick on and off. Each cycle another reminder this roof wasn't mine, these walls weren't lined with my photographs. I thought about the porch light still burning back on Elm, my bulb, my electricity, shining on a doorway that would no longer open for me. I counted the seconds between heater clicks and told myself I would breathe until morning. Just keep breathing, Sharon. One breath, then the next dot after that. I didn't plan. Couldn't. The map of my life had folded into a shape I didn't recognize, and all the roads led away from home. I lay awake until the first thin gray of dawn pushed at the curtains, the quilt pulled tight under my chin, rehearsing a sentence I might never say aloud. I used to own a house on Elm Street, but it forgot my name. The morning after Claire's sofa, I dressed in yesterday's clothes, smoothed my hair with water from the kitchen tap, and caught the 6:15 bus to school. I walked the hallway nodding at children whose parents I'd once taught. My shoes squeaked on the waxed tile, and every step felt like it might echo too loudly, might crack the shell I'd grown overnight. Halfway through arranging the math centers, Mrs. Gaines, the secretary, poked her head in. "Sharon, Mr. Whitaker needs to see you." Her eyes slid sideways, the way people look when something distasteful is stuck to a plate. The principal's office smelled of lemon polish and stale coffee. He shut the door, folded his hands on the desk, and cleared his throat. "We received an anonymous complaint," he began, voice pitched like he was explaining fractions to a "It alleges you're mentally unsteady and perhaps unfit to supervise children." The words floated between us, absurd as crows in a swimming pool. I asked for specifics. He had none beyond erratic behavior and recent personal instability. District policy required an investigation. Paid leave, effective immediately. I thanked him for his concern, habit, and walked out with my canvas bag heavier than when I'd carried books in it. A winter sun, bright but useless, glared off parking lot slush as I crossed to the bus stop. Halfway home, though I no longer knew where that was, I checked my phone to pay for a transfer. The screen flashed, transaction declined. Then an email pinged from the bank. "Your credit card has been temporarily suspended pending review of assets under dispute." I called the number on the back of the card. A polite woman explained there was a hold because a Conner had flagged concerns about ownership of certain funds tied to contested property. Conner, the only other name on that file, had been Andrews. He'd offered to help Mom keep things streamlined online. 2 years ago, I'd handed over usernames like extra slices of pie. By noon, I was nursing a paper cup of diner coffee I couldn't pay for. I scrolled county records on the free Wi-Fi. The deed now listed the property under Anderson Design Holdings LLC, with my name moved to a line marked Care Authorization, signature crooked and nothing like my hand. I printed the page at the library, the printer spitting out proof of my own erasure. The librarian glanced up as I slid coins across the counter, my last cash. She didn't smile. I walked to the law office that handled my mother's will. The receptionist's lipstick was the same hibiscus pink I remembered from probate 15 years ago. She frowned at the screen, then leaned close like sharing gossip. "I'm sorry, Mr. Fenton, can't represent you. Conflict of interest." She wouldn't say who the conflict was. I didn't need her to. Outside, wind slapped the printout against my coat until it tore along the fold. I folded the scraps smaller, tucked them in my pocket. Evidence sometimes has to hide like a wounded bird. That evening, I rode the loop bus until the driver's shift ended at the Central Depot. He looked at me in the mirror but didn't ask why I hadn't gotten off. I thanked him and stepped into the neon buzz of the city library across the street, a place that never asked questions if you pretended long enough to read. In the back corner, near biographies, I wedged my suitcase behind a radiator and curled up in an upholstered chair that smelled of dust-wrapped summer. The guard did his rounds at 10. When his footsteps faded, I eased out the little spiral notebook I'd bought for spelling tests. Under the glow of a desk lamp I wrote, "Day 1. Without a key. Mr. Whitaker believes a stranger over the woman who's taught half this town to read." The pen shook. I gripped harder until the ballpoint carved the paper. More words came, each one laying a brick. Credit card frozen. Name off the deed. Friends whispering dementia. I feel a wall rising, cold and even, brick by brick. I can almost see the mortar lines in my mind. I stopped when the ink pooled at the corner of a word, closed the notebook, pressed it to my chest. I did not cry. I sat there, listening to the building settle, thinking of how walls get built, not in a day, but one silent load of bricks at a time, people handing them along a line, none of them meaning much harm, until suddenly there's a barrier where a doorway used to be. Somewhere beyond that wall my house still stood under the maple tree, the porch light probably burned out by now. Andrew never liked warm bulbs. The image hovered in my mind, steady as a lighthouse seen through fog. If I couldn't reach it tonight, I would at least keep that picture lit inside me. When the heating unit clicked off, cold slipped across the carpet. I pulled my coat tighter, rested my cheek against the notebook, and promised myself the next brick would be mine to place, or to remove. The thermostat in the Carnegie Library must have been older than I was, because the heat rose in wheezy coughs that never reached the reading corner. I claimed the armchair beneath the flickering bulb anyway. It was close enough to an outlet for my phone charger and, more important, tucked behind 3 stacks no patron bothered with after dark. I balled my legs under Mark's army issue coat, the one I'd kept because the lining held a secret pocket my mother had sewn long ago. The coat smelled of cedar and old summers. I slid my hand into that pocket, hoping for forgotten change. My fingers brushed leather instead. I eased out a palm-sized notebook, thin, burgundy, edges feathered with time. It took a second to recognize my mother's travel diary. I hadn't seen it since her funeral. The cover creaked when I opened it. Pages had yellowed to the color of weak tea, but her script, slanted, precise, was still strong. Mostly grocery lists, hymn lyrics, half-finished sketches of the garden. Midway through, a page stopped me. If my Sharon ever needs help, find Sarah Bloom on Elmview Road. Sarah fears no one. The letters slanted harder, as if she'd pressed the pen down with conviction. Sarah Bloom. I mouthed the name, searching memory. 25 years earlier, Sarah had come to our back porch the week Daddy died, bringing iced tea and a will writing kit. Tall woman, iron gray hair pulled so tight her eyes looked permanently interested. Mama trusted her. That was enough for me. I checked the time, 9:37 p.m. Too late to call a stranger. I stared at the phone until the cursor blinked me into courage, then tapped the number directory I found online. 1 ring, 2. On the 3rd, a voice answered, firm as a gavel. Bloom, Ms. Bloom, my name is, I know who you are, Sharon Anderson. I figured you'd call someday. Your mother was braver than most pastors I've met. Meet me tomorrow, 8 sharp, Sunrise Diner, booth in the back, order oatmeal. The coffee's terrible. The line clicked dead. No questions, no sympathy. Strangely comforting. I slipped the diary inside my sweater and settled deeper into the chair. The ceiling, fluorescence snapped off row by row at 10, and the night guard's footsteps echoed like slow applause. I pretended to scroll a tablet until he turned the corner, then tucked my head beneath the coat collar. The diary pressed warm against my ribs, the only thing in the world still calling me daughter. Sleep came in shreds. Every time I drifted, I heard Mama's voice, the way she used to sound when thunder woke me. Sharon, don't let other folks rewrite your story. Hold the pen tight. I whispered back. I'm trying, Mama, though my teeth chattered so hard the words broke apart. At 5, the guard clanged a radiator with his flashlight. Closing time for squatters. I thanked him out of habit, rolled my stiff shoulders, and hefted the suitcase to the curb. The sky was bruised pink. I walked 6 blocks to Riverside Park, where the drinking fountain's spigot trickled just enough to cup water in my palms. I splashed my face until it stung, combed fingers through wind-snarled hair, and wrapped the red wool scarf Nancy gave me 3 Christmases ago, back when gifts meant something warmer than apology. Sunrise Diner, squatted between a shuttered bait shop and a payday loan office. Inside, bacon smoke clung to Formica booths, worn smooth by generations of elbows. Sarah Bloom sat alone at the rear, spine straight, no coat, despite the draft. Her eyes, steel blue, unblinking, fixed on me the second I crossed the threshold. You're late, she announced, though my watch showed 7:59. She slid a steaming mug across the table. Decaf, you need clear nerves. Close up, she reminded me of mountain ridges, harsh lines, but shelter if you knew the trails. I told her everything between sips. The lock changed. The forged deed, the anonymous complaint, the frozen card. She never interrupted, only jotted notes on a yellow pad, each stroke carving the paper. When I finished, she tore the top sheet free and pushed it toward me. First steps. 1. File elder abuse claim at probate court this afternoon. I'll accompany you. 2. Bank fraud division. Request immediate reversal of fiduciary power. 3. Temporary restraining order to secure your residence. We'll serve them tomorrow morning before they finish breakfast. Her confidence left no room for doubt, so mine started to grow in the empty spaces. I managed a shaky laugh. You make it sound almost simple. Sarah's mouth twitched, not quite a smile. It's never simple, but clean lines win battles. Your daughter and her husband drew theirs. We draw ours straighter. She tapped the diary, peeking from my pocket. Eleanor once hid me from bill collectors in that very coat closet of yours. She said courage is mostly paperwork backed by stubbornness. I supply paperwork. You bring the stubborn. I lifted the mug in a toast I hoped looked braver than I felt. Outside, sunlight slipped through smudged blinds, landing on the table, in the shape of a small doorway. I traced its outline with my fingertip and imagined it opening, one hinge at a time, until cold maple-scented air rushed in, and the house on Elm Street remembered my name. Sarah's office sits over a shuttered hardware store, the kind of second-floor space where you duck beneath a crooked transom window before the door even closes. The room is long and narrow, lined with steel filing cabinets that howl when January wind sneaks through the sash. Mahogany floorboards creak like pews under our shoes, and the air tastes of old carbon paper, dry, metallic, permanent. I took the straight-back chair across from Sarah's desk, folded both hands on my knees, and let the whole story pour out. No pauses, no softening. I covered every inch: the lock, the forged deed, the night guard's flashlight on library carpet, the rumor of dementia whispered over Claire's sink. Words spilled faster than her pen could follow, but she never tried to slow me. She only nodded, blue eyes fixed, as though each sentence was a nail she intended to hammer flush, somewhere between the anonymous complaint and the frozen credit line. My throat caught. A single tear slipped, a stupid, involuntary thing. I brushed it aside. Sarah leaned forward, voice flat as sheet steel. Enough theft, she said. Enough shadows. Time to pin this in daylight and watch it squirm. She slid 3 packets across the blotter, pages clipped and flagged. The headings read like verdicts: wrongful eviction, forgery of durable power, elder, financial exploitation. My name printed at the top, crisp as new snow. We file these today, she said. Sheriff's office delivers notice tomorrow. Step 1, in taking back the ground beneath your feet. I should have felt relief, maybe triumph, but the paper blurred. I wasn't ready to swing a hammer at my own child, not without one last try. Give me until tonight to sign, I asked. I have to look my daughter in the eye first. Sarah's eyebrow lifted, but she gave a curt nod. Midnight deadline. After that, justice moves without you. I texted Nancy from the hallway. Can we meet once more? Just us? 20 minutes later, 3 gray dots pulsed. Then her reply. Fine. 4 p.m., Clover's Bakery. Clover's used to be our reward stop after report card days. Cinnamon rolls, so sticky we needed 3 napkins each. Walking there now felt like crossing a minefield laid by my own memories. The snow had crusted over. Each step snapped thin ice. I tucked the diary in my coat, the last warm lump against my ribs. The bakery bell jingled when I pushed in. Same checkerboard linoleum, same smell of yeast and vanilla. Nancy sat in the corner booth, phone face down beside an untouched mug. She wore a camel hair coat I'd never seen, expensive, sharp-shouldered, like armor made of wool. I slid into the seat across from her. For a heartbeat we just breathed the same cinnamon-sweet air. I searched her face for my little girl, the one who once counted freckles on my forearm. All I found were new lines at the mouth, hard curves at the jaw. Do you honestly believe I'm a burden, Nancy? My voice sounded steadier than I felt. Is that why you locked the door? She exhaled through her nose, eyes darting to the pastry case as if the answer might be written in frosting. Mom, you won't move forward. You live in a museum. The plumbing's ancient, the wiring's a fire hazard. We're trying to save the house before it rots, and you fight every improvement. Save it by taking it, by making it worth something. She shot back. You'd never sell, never refinance. We had an opportunity. Her gaze hardened. You left us no choice. Cold spread through my chest like spilled milk. No choice but to lie. To paint over your own childhood and tell the town I'm losing my mind. Her mouth opened, closed. The bell over the door clanged again, and Andrew strode in, cheeks red from wind, suit collar dusted with snow. Without greeting, he slapped a thick folder onto the formica. A title page stared up. Purchase and sale agreement, Elm Street, property, $3 million. Nancy's signature curled across the bottom in blue ink. Andrew's voice carried the smug chill of a man certain of victory. All we need now is your sign-off as previous owner for clean transfer of title. You'll get a stipend. Condo in Pine Grove Senior Living, meals included. The contract edges cut light like razors. $3 million, a fortune, but not large enough to buy years of birthdays and maple shadow mornings. I looked at Nancy. Her eyes wouldn't meet mine. Somewhere inside me a final thread, frayed for months, snapped clean. No thunder, just a soft inner rip. The sound surprised me more than the betrayal. I slid the contract back, untouched. I used to think love meant keeping quiet so everyone else could speak, I said. Turns out, silence invites thieves. I stood, coat hem brushing the vinyl seat. You've made your choice. I'll make mine. Nancy's lips trembled, but, whether in anger or remorse, I couldn't tell. I left the bakery before the taste of cinnamon turned bitter on my tongue. Outside, wind slapped my scarf straight back like a banner. It felt bracing, honest. I walked toward Sarah's office, the lawsuit packets riding steady under my arm. The sun dropped behind rooftops, sky burning the color of cindered brick. With every step, I repeated Mama's words like a drumbeat. Hold the pen tight, Sharon. By the time I reached the hardware store door, night had settled, sharp and absolute. I climbed the narrow stairs, each creak echoing the contract's hollow slap. At the landing I paused, drew one full breath, and felt the cold wind of loss swirl around me. No longer something to fear, only something to step through. I knocked once. Sarah swung the door wide, fountain pen already uncapped. I laid the papers on her desk and signed my name 3 times, bold and sure, ink sinking deep into the fibers. The last thread was gone, but in its place I felt the heft of a new rope, one braided from oak-strung letters, courthouse seals, and the stubborn rhythm of my own heartbeat. And this time, I was the one tying the knot. Sarah's office became my second skin that winter. Smell of lemon oil, hiss of the space heater, stacks of manila folders rising like small city skylines around her desk. We worked in a rhythm that felt almost holy. I hunted facts. She sharpened them into blades. Every morning she slid a fresh legal pad toward me and said, "Write what you remember, all of it." And every night she tucked those pages into a file labeled Anderson v. Anderson Cook, some evidence we pulled from thin air. Screen-captured texts, the forged signature blown up and compared to my old checks. Other pieces we dug like coal. One afternoon Sarah disappeared into the county archives and returned with dust on her cuffs and a grin I hadn't seen before. "Found your mother's original will," she announced, dropping a crackling envelope onto the table. Recorded 1991, witnessed by 2 deacons, states in plain English, "The property remains yours for the duration of your natural life and may not be sold without your notarized consent." I stroked the parchment lines, Mama's careful loops blooming through the fading ink. That document felt warmer than any blanket the library ever offered. We filed an emergency petition that same day, motion to reinstate possession, petition for temporary restraining order, and criminal referral for forgery of durable power. The courthouse copier spat out triplicate forms while Sarah muttered case numbers like Psalms. Next, she drafted a cease and desist letter to Andrew, 3 pages, thick with statute citations and a closing sentence that landed like a judge's gavel. Failure to comply within 72 hours will result in immediate pursuit of criminal prosecution. Under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 266, Sections 3037 and 123, we sent it certified, signature required. By breakfast the receipt pinged delivered. That afternoon I walked into Harbor Bank flanked by a junior paralegal clutching the court order. The branch manager's smile sagged when he read the heading. In 10 minutes he restored my online access, issued new cards, and placed a fraud freeze on any transactions initiated by Nancy or Andrew. For the first time in months, the numbers on the screen felt like something solid under my feet. 2 days later, Sarah's phone chimed during lunch. She answered, listened, then covered the receiver to tell me, Andrews pulled the sale agreement. Buyer wants out, doesn't want a family scandal on the front page. She winked, sharp and satisfied. First domino. That night, back in the borrowed spare room, over the hardware store, I brewed chamomile on a hot plate, and stared at the calendar tacked to the wall. 1 page left. March. All pale greens and daffodils. I was about to mark the upcoming court date when my phone buzzed. Mom, you win. Hope you're happy with your victory. Nancy. No greeting, no punctuation beyond the period at the end. The words felt flat, like a door closed from the other side. I read them twice, waiting for anger or triumph to rise. Neither came, only a weary quiet, the sound you hear when a long storm finally drains from the gutters. I let the phone screen fade, poured the tea into my favorite chipped mug, the one with the blue jay, and carried it to the window. Snow melt dripped from the gutter onto the frozen sidewalk, each drop a tiny heartbeat. I sipped once, then reached for the calendar page and tore it free with slow, steady hands. The paper gave way cleanly, no jagged edge, as if the month had been waiting to leave. I folded the page into quarters, pressed it flat, and slid it under the diary in my coat pocket. A small weight, but mine. The room smelled of honey and steam. Somewhere downtown a church bell tolled 8, each note landing softer than the last. Sarah was filing motions late across the hall. I could hear her typewriter clack. She swears by the old royal, says judges respect ink you can smudge with your thumb. I breathed in, long and low, and felt the nights settle around me like a blanket that finally fit. For the first time since the porch light failed me, my shoulders dropped. Not in surrender, just release. The gnarled knots of fear and shame loosened, and in their place rose something plain and sturdy. Resolve, maybe. Or just the uncomplicated knowledge that the story, from here on, would be written in my own handwriting again. I drank the last of the tea, rinsed the mug, and set it upside down to dry. The calendar edge peeked from my pocket, new, blank, waiting. I whispered to Mama's diary, tucked close to my heart, the pen's back in my hand. Then, I switched off the lamp and let the room go dark, confident the dawn would know where to find me. The courthouse on Main Street looks like any New England post office. Red brick, white columns, nothing dramatic. But that morning, it felt as tall as the Capitol. The first snow of the season sifted down, soft as powdered sugar on a pie crust. I stepped through it in my mother's old wool coat, the one with the worn cuffs and the hidden pocket, and wrapped her deep red scarf twice around my neck. She always said the color kept winter from stealing a person's fire. Inside, oak benches creaked under heavy coats, and fluorescent lights hummed like tired bees. Nancy and Andrew sat at the far table. Andrew leaned back, arms crossed, that half grin on his face like he'd already priced the judge's gavel on eBay. Nancy wouldn't look at me. Her gaze stayed glued to a legal pad she wasn't writing on. Sarah Bloom stood beside me in a charcoal suit sharp enough to slice paper. She touched my elbow, a silent reminder that the law, for once, was walking on my side of the street. Case number 2 for 7. Sachitrace, the clerk called. Anderson versus Anderson. The words echoed up the plaster dome and fell like stones. In my stomach we rose. The judge, a compact woman with iron gray hair tucked in a no-nonsense bun, adjusted her glasses and nodded for Sarah to proceed. Sarah didn't waste breath. She introduced Exhibit A, my mother's original will, dated and notarized, bequeathing the house to me for life with a no-sale clause. Exhibit B, certified copies of the deed showing my sudden disappearance and the LLC's arrival. Exhibit C, a flash drive from my living room camera, the one Andrew installed for security, containing his voice saying, clear as sleet, that old lady doesn't understand the land's worth. She'll be dead before she even notices. Sarah paused after playing the clip, letting the words hang in the silence like icicles. Andrew's lawyer objected on grounds of unauthorized recording. The judge overruled, noting it was Andrew's own device. Then their side tried Plan B, paint me as unreliable. Mrs. Anderson has displayed lapses in judgment and memory, the young attorney said, smoothing his designer tie. The LLC acted in her best interest. Sarah barely blinked. We have Dr. Patel, she replied, and my family physician, white coat over tweed, took the stand. He looked straight at the judge. Mrs. Anderson shows no cognitive impairment, none. Her memory tests last month scored in the 95th percentile for her age group. He added, almost gently, She could probably recite the periodic table if you asked. A few spectators chuckled. I managed a thin smile. Sarah closed with the simplest argument of all. She held up the diary Mama had left me. Intent, she said, tapping the leather cover, is the heartbeat of inheritance. Eleanor Anderson intended her daughter to live in that home without fear of eviction, especially by the very family she raised there. The courtroom clock ticked 3 times before the judge spoke. Her gavel came down once, crisp as a branch snapping in cold. The court finds in favor of Sharon Anderson. Possession of the Elm Street property is restored effective immediately. Nancy Anderson Cook and Andrew Cook are ordered to vacate within 72 hours, repay all diverted funds, and refrain from contact for 12 months. She looked over her glasses at Andrew. And Mr. Cook, consider this fair warning. Any further interference will be prosecuted. A rustle of coats, a collective exhale, then quiet fell again. Andrew's grin slid off like sleet off warm glass. Nancy finally lifted her head. Her eyes were red but unreadable. I wanted to reach across the aisle and find the girl who once counted fireflies with me, but all that lay between us now were stacks of exhibits and a gulf of choices. Court adjourned. Outside the air felt brighter, the cold somehow cleaner. Snowflakes the size of dimes drifted onto my shoulders and melted into the wool. I tipped my face up, let one settle on my cheek, and didn't brush it away. Victory didn't taste sweet. It tasted like iron and wind, real, bracing, unmistakably mine. Sarah joined me on the granite steps, fastening the top button of her coat. She nodded at the sky. Your mother would be proud, Sharon. She always believed justice is just love wearing its work boots. I didn't laugh, didn't cry. I simply tightened my grip on the worn leather tote slung over my shoulder. The tote where Mama's diary rested, warm from my body heat. We stood there a while, 2 women in falling snow, watching the courthouse doors swing shut on a chapter that had nearly rewritten my life. Down the street the maple trees were already dressed in white, branches bowed but unbroken. In a few days, I'd unlock my own front door again, light a fire in the hearth, and let the scent of cedar climb the walls. Tonight, though, I just breathed cold air deep into my lungs and felt it turn to steam as I exhaled. Proof that I was still here, still standing, still the author of my own story. 1 year to the day after the verdict, the downstairs rooms no longer smell of paint stripper and hurt. They smell of tempura and library paste and the faint, sweet tang of chalk dust. I sanded the baseboards myself, patched the drywall, and rolled 2 coats of buttermilk white so children's drawings would shine brighter. Where Andrew once sketched floor plan sketches for a design office, little hands now swirl color wheels and sound out storybooks. I kept the name simple, Maple Home Art and Reading Room, because every good thing that has ever happened in this house began under that tree out front. We open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 3 to 6. No fees, no forms. Kids wander in from the elementary school, drop their backpacks by the coat hooks, and choose easel or beanbag. The easels stand in the south window where winter light falls long and mellow. The beanbags huddle near the low bookshelf I built from old porch planks, sanded smooth but still showing nail scars. The very first afternoon, little Carlos Rivera painted a cardinal so red it looked lit from inside. His sister Elena read Charlotte's Web aloud, stumbling over radiant until the word finally settled on her tongue. I thought my heart might glow right through my sweater. Out back, the yard has been reborn. The broken lattice is gone. New cedar posts hold a trellis sturdy enough for storms. Last spring, I ordered 10 bare root clippings of Grandma's heirloom rose, scarlet petals, lemon tea scent. I dug each hole with Mama's old trowel, the handle taped where the wood split years ago. By June the canes pushed out leaves, the color of penny edges. By August buds swelled tight as little fists. On opening day, parents hovered in the doorway, polite but wary. Tuition prices and after-school fees have made folks skittish. One mother, Mrs. Hill, finally asked, "Do you ever teach reading to grown?" I never got past 7th grade. I told her yes before she finished the sentence. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock, we meet at the same tables the kids use. She practices vowel blends beside a retired machinist who hides his workbook under a sports page. Progress is quiet but steady, like my roses inching along the trellis. Sarah Bloom arrived that afternoon in her trench coat and sensible shoes, looking like she'd stepped out of a black and white photograph. She carried a brown grocery sack that clinked when she set it on the old deacon's bench by the window, the bench Mama used to sit on while reading the Sunday paper. Inside were 4 small watercolor landscapes bought from roadside painters, a lighthouse, a cornfield at dusk, a city skyline under rain, and one lone maple tree blazing orange. For the children, she said, though I suspect they were for me. We sat a moment, side by side, letting the room breathe around us, no talk of courts or clauses. Only the scrape of a crayon box and the rustle of pages turning. Sarah looked at the mural the kids had started, a sunrise made of handprints, and nodded once, satisfied. Eleanor would call this justice with cupcakes on top, she said. I laughed. Real and deep, the way I used to before worry bent my spine. After the last child claimed her drawing and the latch clicked closed, I brewed 2 mugs of peppermint tea. Sarah took hers on the porch, and I stayed inside to write. 1 sheet of stationery, gold-flecked edges. Dear Mama, the shadows are gone, the house beats like a heart again, its own and mine. The downstairs hums with stories, the backyard with roses. Your diary still rides in my pocket, soft at the corners now. I have not forgotten how to stand. Thank you for teaching me. I folded the letter tight, slid it into the fireplace, and struck a match. The paper caught with a sigh, edges curling to ember. Sparks drifted up the flue like fireflies heading home. Later, I walked the garden path with the watering can, moonlight tipping, each stone in silver. The roses had opened wide, an unseasonal flush, stubborn against forecast frost. I bent to inhale 1 bloom. The scent was sharp, alive, almost reckless, as if the plant knew winter might come early and chose to bloom harder anyway. I whispered, "Good choice," and gave the roots a long, slow drink. Inside, the house lights glowed through new curtains, sewn from old tablecloths. They made the windows look like lanterns set out for travelers. When I climbed the stairs for bed, wood treads creaked the familiar pattern, a lullaby in reverse. I paused halfway, hand on the banister, listening to silence soft as wool. No locks clicking behind me, no voices hushed in another room. Just the settling of beams and joists that once held 3 generations and will now shelter whoever needs a place to read or paint or spell the word radiant without fear. I do not know if Nancy will ever walk this hallway again, or if forgiveness grows as predictably as roses. Some things bloom late, some never at all. But tonight, the house is warm, the garden fragrant, and my own breath writes small clouds into the dark. That is enough. I switch off the hall light, and for the first time in a long time, darkness feels like rest, not exile. Tomorrow the children will return, bright as paint, and the kettle will whistle, and life, this reclaimed, repainted life, will keep opening its petals, 1 stubborn red rose at a time. After everything I've been through, I've learned one thing: never lose yourself. In the name of sacrifice, never let love become the excuse for someone to erase you from the very life you built. There are times when silence is no longer an act of grace, it becomes complicity in your own suffering. I've learned to rise, to snatch the pen of destiny from the hands of those who once called themselves family, and write the next chapter of my life with resilience and pride, because justice doesn't arrive on its own, and love does not mean being forgotten. If you were me, standing before the doorway that was once a home but now only reeks of betrayal, what would you do? Forgive, swallow your tears in silence, or would you stand tall and take back everything that was rightfully yours? I truly want to know what you would choose, because maybe, just maybe, each of us is Sharon in some fleeting moment of our lives. And always remember, God blesses the soul that refuses to fall.